just try and get out of the wind a bit. So I've got a couple of days in Tintagel, legendary home of King Arthur, and actually staying in this kind of fairly modern castle, I guess, up there. And I've come out, it's pretty windy and it's threatening rain, and we've got about 45 minutes till sunrise. I'm going to head down this coastal path and see if we can find a composition. I'm not feeling hopeful this morning. Super windy this morning. Looks like we've come to a fork in the path. One fork leads up there, one fork leads down the coast that way. Sunrise is going to be over the back there somewhere, according to my research. And this is the problem about coming somewhere first thing in the morning without doing any location scouting the night before, is you're kind of racing the sunrise and racing the good light without really knowing where you're going. Because the sun's going to be coming from that direction, hitting these cliffs behind me here, it's probably a good idea for me to go that way so I can get some of that light reflecting off the cliffs. There's not really much point trying to photograph towards the sunrise because I'm just not going to see it, and there's quite a lot of cloud. So it's looking a bit dubious as to whether or not we're going to get anything this morning, but we're out. That's the main thing. I'm really struggling to find a composition this morning. I'm not quite sure what the light's going to do yet. Without walking quite far that way, which unfortunately I don't have time to do this morning, just hiding away here from the wind as well so you can hear me. What we've got behind me is potentially a panoramic, maybe 3 or 4 panel panoramic, but there's not much light at the minute and it's quite hard to find a balanced composition. Basically, there's a lot on the right hand side, but not much on the left hand side to kind of balance things out, especially if I go for that panoramic image. So I think I'm going to give the panoramic option a go. Otherwise, I think there's a big bank of rain coming. Better to get something in the bag than nothing. There's a pretty big cliff drop down there, so I've got to be pretty careful and just make sure I know what I'm doing, especially in this wind. I'm shooting on the Sony a7R IV this morning, and I've got a couple of lens choices. I've got the Sigma 24-70 Art Series, and on the camera at the minute is a Canon 16-35 L series lens, which is adapted using a Metabones adapter. So I'll just close all this up so I don't get anything blowing away. So the funny thing is I've just moved the camera that I'm using to film myself, and it's actually created quite a nice composition, just subconsciously or by accident. If I just move out of the way, we've got this fence kind of creating some leading lines into the scene, and this is what I'm filming on is 16:9, so it could form a nice 16:9 crop. But I'm going to try the panoramic first, and then if that doesn't work out, I'm actually going to try it from right where you're looking now. I'm really not convinced this panoramic is going to work, but as I'm here, I'm going to give it a shot anyway. I'm just using the little spirit bubble in the tripod here to get it level as best as I can, otherwise it makes stitching the panoramic even harder sometimes. So I'm just doing one leg at a time, keeping that bubble in the middle. Got a little bit of light coming in the clouds there now, so I'm going to get this pano in the bag, and then I'm going to move back to that spot that I just mentioned. All right, enough chat, let's get this one in the bag without falling down the cliff. Get our focus set, f16 half a second, 3-second timer, 2-second timer, and also bracketing. I'm going to swing this around a bit, making sure I've got plenty of overlap. I switched to manual focus, so we're not going to have any shifts in focus. Swing it around a bit more. I'm actually leaving quite a lot of room for overlap. Because we've got a lot of movement in this grass down here, it's going to make stitching a bit funny anyway, and it's going to be probably a lot of ghosting, anti-ghosting required. Now as I'm swinging around to the right here, just have to move you out of the way. We'll get the last panel in. And we'll see if we can stitch that. So I've come back up to this spot and I'm going to try and find a composition here. The gate, if the light hits it, is going to kind of light up quite nicely, but I am struggling a little bit to finesse the composition enough to where it's going to make a really nice image. It's always a bit of a battle with the light when you've got a lot of clouds with landscape photography, because the lighting's constantly changing. So just have to kind of not predict, but try and imagine what might happen. Always make sure you try and get down low sometimes as well, just to get a different perspective. All right, that's the second image in the bag. Not sure I'm 100% happy with the composition. We're not really making or giving much emphasis to the cliffs. We've got quite a prominent gate in the foreground, but I kind of like it. We're not really making use of the leading lines of the fence. So I tried this different composition. I'll put that up on screen at the minute, and I'm not entirely convinced about it. Let me know down in the comments whether you prefer the last one or this one. Just comment A or B. The funny thing is, I always wish I had just one more day at whatever location I'm at, because I can always see the possibilities of what could be. Obviously, with landscape photography, you've got to wait for the light. You've got to be in the right place at the right time. And sometimes I just wish I could stay at a location for a week or 2 weeks just to really get to know it intimately and make something that I can kind of see in my head in the landscape into a photo, if that makes sense. So I just took one more photo. You can see the camera up there. It's a bit of a snapshot really. I just wanted to show you the landscape, and also you can see at the top left the castle where I'm staying. So I'm going to pack up everything, head back to the castle, get some breakfast. I'll see you in the next one.